Hello, I am Chuang. Let's draw the head of the juvenile Corythosaurus. Compared with the head of the adult Corythosaurus, the most significant difference is that the juvenile did not develop a huge crest. So we have to imagine what its tiny, undeveloped crest would look like when it was young. The crest of the adult Corythosaurus might be enveloped by keratin, but this might not be the case for juveniles because the protrusion was not prominent enough to support the keratin. If we want to use extant animals as the reference, we can look at the leatherback turtle, whose juvenile form completely differs from its adult. The back of the adult leatherback turtle is covered with smooth leather-like skin, but the juvenile's back has small scales, making it like a scaly animal. We can apply this idea to reconstruct the juvenile Corythosaurus, and make this part to a scale-covered appearance. In addition, we should pay attention to some structural and proportional differences between the heads of juvenile and adult individuals. Draft it right, and make its head as square as possible when composing the picture. Now, let's get started. We begin with its eyes. The eyes of the juvenile Corythosaurus appeared larger than those of adults. Then, draw its pupil. When drawing the pupil, draw it in a crescent shape and leave a highlight. Apply a little shadow above the eye. Then, we draw some wrinkles around the eye, making the lines full but not too many because it is juvenile, and we should present the feeling of its relatively delicate skin. There was a raised, outward bulging structure behind the eye, which was its temporal fenestra, with muscles accommodating inside. Then, we draw the top of its head, which was relatively flat compared to an adult. The crest did not extend to the top of its head, so we draw it like a flat crest. The face of the juvenile Corythosaurus looked taller than the adult's. Then, let's draw the jugal bone to this position. There was a small protrusion at the very root of its nose, which would develop into a more prominent crest when it reached adulthood. Its mouth was much smaller than an adult's, very short and pointed. We draw its tiny keratinous beak. The keratinous beak of the young Corythosaurus might not have as many serrations as the adult, so we can draw it to be relatively smooth to show their difference. This location is its nostril. Draw wrinkles around it. Next, let's draw its mouth. Pay attention to making its mouth look different from an adult's. It should be smaller and have a sharper and narrower forend, and its mouth would also look shorter. Then, its lower jaw, the posterior of which can be drawn fuller. Draw some shading on the lower jaw to give it a slight three-dimensional look. This location is its ear hole. Draw its neck backward. Its throat is situated below. We can add some shading on the throat. Above its eyes, we can slightly emphasize the more convex eyebrow arch. Next, let's refine the drawing with some details. For instance, complete the line between the beak of its lower jaw and the skin, and draw some worn textures lightly on the beak. On the crest atop its head, we can gently draw some scales of various sizes. Which slowly transition to the surroundings and disappear. This structure can refer to the difference between juvenile and adult leatherback turtles. Draw some little spikes that have just grown out on the back of the neck. Finally, add some more wrinkles. In this way, we've finished drawing the head of the juvenile Corythosaurus.